Let me tell you, I never thought my name would be at the center of a federal sting, or that my biggest enemy would turn out to be a woman whose greatest power move was wielding a clipboard. You ever wake up thinking your biggest problem is overcooked coffee, only to have three grown men dressed like Halloween cops bust down your front door, waving flashlights like they're storming a cartel? That was my Tuesday. Yeah, that happened. So here's how it went. I'm Ellis Rohr, a retired software engineer, just trying to squeeze a quiet week with my son Marcus up in the Colorado mountains. Nothing fancy, just two guys, bad cell service, better coffee, and pine trees tall enough to hide from any of life's nonsense. Pine Ridge Estates, our so-called escape. Only this place, well, let's just say the rules run deeper than the pine roots. The head of that operation? Susan Hayes, HOA president, a woman who makes the IRS look warm and fuzzy. It started with that bang on the door, 8:03 a.m. Sharp. Open up. We have an HOA order. Some linebacker wannabe, badge swinging loose. I swear you could smell the plastic from the doorway while his two sidekicks try to look tough, like mall security with a little too much energy drink in their veins. You know what I mean? The real kicker? They were there because Susan decided our old truck and Marcus's workout mat lowered community standards. Imagine grown men playing cop to chase a yoga mat. But here's what Susan didn't know. Marcus isn't just ex-military. He's the guy who trains people like them how to stay alive. So, 30 seconds in, one fake cop's flying off our porch, the next is face down by the coffee pot, and the third sobbing on the living room carpet, hands up blubbering about rent money and I just needed the cash. Their uniforms? Straight from the bargain bin, honestly. If you're going to impersonate the police, at least iron your shirt. I'm thinking, do we just step into a low-budget movie? Or is this some new HOA initiative? But Marcus, ever the pro, stays calm, files the whole mess on his custom drone. Yeah, the guy brought his own surveillance, which, turns out, uploads everything right to the feds. 10 minutes later, my phone's lighting up with a call from Colorado's Federal Security Office, asking about an ongoing incident. That's when I realize this isn't just about property rules. We're on someone's radar. Police arrive, real ones this time, and behind them, a federal agent in a windbreaker that might as well have said, "I'm here to end your week." Agent Chun, sharp eyes, quick handshake, the whole 9 yards. "Mr. Rohr, we'll need to speak with you and your son. There's more to this than community violations." No kidding. I glance at Marcus, who just shrugs and says, "Work stuff, Dad." Let me back up a second my day. Work stuff meant missing paperwork, not federal raids. Meanwhile, Susan Hayes is all over Facebook, posting selfies in front of our cabin. Mission accomplished, with a hashtag that's basically justice served. Lady, the only thing you served was evidence Chin's people screenshot her posts before she can even hit edit. I pour another coffee, try to steady my hands, but what happens next throws everything I thought I knew about HOA drama out the window. See, the real twist, the one no one tells you about suburban America, is that sometimes the real crooks aren't breaking in. They're running the show. 2 hours after the raid, a thick envelope lands in my mailbox. 47 pages of violations, each more ridiculous than the last. No dogs over 20 pounds, don't have one. Vehicles older than 5 years prohibited, my old truck. No outdoor furniture visible after sunset, Marcus's chair. Every rule written to target us. Every signature Susan's. I dig a little deeper, pull up county records, and see her shell company Mountain Vista Holdings making lowball offers on homes. Right after families get these violation letters. 23 properties in 18 months, all snatched for cheap, then flipped at a profit. The pattern's so blatant, it's almost elegant, almost. But here's the kicker. Tucked in with the HOA junk is a manila envelope from my neighbor, Dorothy Kessler. Read after dark. The note says, careful cursive, steady hand. Inside, 12 photos, families leaving. Fear etched on every face, every photo dated. Everyone a story of someone forced out by Susan's little empire. There's a list of addresses, too, all bought by Mountain Vista after a barrage of violations. Dorothy, the sweet lady who brings cookies to every HOA meeting, just handed me the blueprint to a criminal racket. Now, Marcus's drone picks up 6 new cameras around our cabin, hidden better than any security setup I've seen outside of a bank. Law enforcement grade, streaming live. Dad, he says, these aren't for community safety. Someone's watching us. I go full internet sleuth. Turns out Susan was once a hotshot insurance agent. Lost everything in the '08 crash. Crawled back up by making sure no one else could ever take her home away. She's been at war with the world since then, and now she's rewriting the rules in Pine Ridge, one violation at a time. I almost feel bad for her. Almost. The next day, Dorothy shows up at my back door. Only now, she's not the grandmother with cookies. She's retired federal judge Dorothy Kessler, 30 years on the bench, recruited by the FBI to run this operation. You can't make this stuff up. She's got files, evidence, and a list of 23 families she's been protecting from Susan's schemes. Turns out, we're not just targets, we're the bait in the FBI's biggest HOA fraud case ever. The plan? Draw Susan out, record everything, bring in the residents who've suffered under her reign, and let her hang herself with her own words. Marcus wires up surveillance gear that makes my smartwatch a bug and sets up the perfect trap. At the next community meeting, Susan, thinking she's surrounded by supporters, launches into a rant about cleaning up the neighborhood, not knowing every word is going to federal agents. She brags about bribes, forged court orders, the whole operation. Even slips up and mentions paying off local officials $15,000 to turn the lawyer. Easy as pie. I feel my stomach turn as I realize our family was never the real target. We were the test case for a nationwide scam. When Susan tries one last desperate move, storming our cabin with 14 armed men, thinking she can scare us off for good, she walks straight into a forest full of FBI agents, residents ready to testify, and every camera rolling. Marcus, cool as ice, neutralizes the first 3 like he's back in training camp. The rest surrender when they realize who's really running the show. But Susan, she's stubborn. She grabs me, pistol to my head, starts confessing everything in a panic. I've got judges, city officials, enough dirt to bury half the state. Dorothy steps in, comes a judge on Sunday, and arrests her herself. The look on Susan's face when she realizes she's been played by the very people she underestimated, I'll never forget it. Federal agents move in. Neighbors we thought were just background players reveal themselves as undercover witnesses. The whole house of cards collapses, and Susan, even in handcuffs, tries to live stream her injustice to a handful of loyal followers. Her last caption? Corrupt system, bosswoman never surrenders. The irony is almost too much. A year later, Pine Ridge isn't just free, it's thriving. Marcus teaches self-defense to kids whose families got their homes back. Dorothy runs a justice center that helps communities nationwide fight HOA abuse. I work with the FBI, teaching folks how to spot the signs, how not to get blindsided by power-hungry presidents with too much time and too little conscience. Sometimes, the ones you think are the heroes, the lawyers, the judges, the friendly neighbor next door, are all playing roles in something bigger than you ever imagined. Sometimes, the fight for justice doesn't start in a courtroom, but right in your own living room when someone decides to stand up instead of give in. But I gotta ask, and I hope you'll answer, have you ever felt helpless against your own HOA? Do you think power always corrupts? Or can a strong community take it back? Drop your story in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going because the real battle for our neighborhoods, it's just getting started.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're...
Use the fence.